Marky Worthington Podcast all day.
All day.
Dream by night.
Don't buy me a drink. Just give me $10.
All day.
Go down to the strip club with your floppy disk and turn it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. You'll get fucking thrown out by Big Tony.
We're here to name names and make people feel more ashamed for shit that they're not proud of.
Don't blow it. Keep it simple. Count your money.
No, whatever it is.
It's episode 88 with Tony. How you doing?
Hey, good day, mate.
Good day,
How
mate.
are you?
88. The as they say in bingo, two fat ladies.
88.
88.
No shit. That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I've been doing this now since 2017, I think. That's when I kicked this off. And I originally... We're mates because of the music scene, but I heard you on a local podcast, The Big Send, and I was just like, I'll have to see if Tony's keen to jump on there. I've had you on the metal podcast I do, Canberra Metalheads.
Yes.
And, I figured it'd be good to get you on this one because I heard a couple of the non-metal stories from over the years. On the other podcast, I was like, that's cool. Tony's got other stuff as well that he can chat about, which is rad.
Yeah. No worries. All good.
Yeah.
And whatever. Let's just,
Whatever.
We're here. Let's just say, let's talk about whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And have an exciting time.
Exactly. Just let the flow. Let the flow. So is that how things are written, like songs and stuff like that? I noticed, so backstory. I used to open up with Which Goal used to practice your band in the back of Black Sun.
Yes.
This is a rehearsal studio here in Canberra.
Yes.
And occasionally, if they couldn't get someone to lock up at the end of the night, I lived close by, so I'd just get the call and I'd come in and make sure it was all locked up, right? Now, most bands would be out by then, but sometimes I'd still hear the skull from the back of the rehearsal studio, just before even the first album came out. I think this was early on, and I'd just go to lock up and I'd be like, I can still hear music because I have to check all the rooms. I'd go out there and I'd be like about to open the door and I'd just hear like a mad riff coming out. I'm like, I can't interrupt this. Plus, I'm not fucking doing anything. I'm like 19 years old. Fuck it. So I'd just stand on the other side of the door listening. And then eventually when the song finished, I'd open it up. Hey, guys, I'm just about to close up. You guys all good? Yeah, we're all good. And then you'd start packing up and shit. And that's how I got to know Witch Skull more than just the live shows, but knowing you as people as well. And then I remember one night when the first 3-track EP came out, you're like, here you go, bro. And one of you gave it to me. And I still got that album, the little 3-track CD.
Yeah, the teaser. Yeah, that's cool, that thing.
And, and then when I started doing radio with Canberra Metalheads, you're one of the first guests that we had on. And, it's been like that ever since, man. So it's been years in the making of, like, getting to know the band and getting to know yourself.
Yeah, totally, man. It's
they were good times, man. The Black Sun days and like the early gigs.
Yeah, I remember that, man. You coming back there and just knocking and us being there really late and shit, and jamming. Yeah, that was the early days. We used to jam a lot, man.
Yeah.
And it started out in Fishwick and then it went back to Black Sun. And you were a young man there.
Yeah.
You were fresh out of college and all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You
hardly any beard.
Yeah, and you were like, hey, Witch Skull, Satan, devil worshippers, could you I want to go home and play my Nintendo. And then, we were there for years. We rehearsed there for fucking years, man, right? Up until the third record, I think, even there.
Yeah.
And
where's the place in Fishwick that...
Red Sun.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's Lance's brother, Ralph.
Yeah.
And then they both have a studio. And Witch Skull actually started rehearsing in Red Sun in Fishwick.
Yeah, okay.
When Joel, the drummer, came from outer space. He comes from Planet Matador. And he just rocked up, waltzed up. And
hang on, you just keep this mic close.
He waltzed up one afternoon and was like so you think you can jump, hey? And I was like, oh, fucking, who's this guy? Probably went to school with my wife. And, that was it at the Red Sun. He was like, the way he swaggered up, with his stick bag. I was like, fuck, this guy's must be hard on the kid. And yeah, it's just all flooding back now. Sorry if I've seemed choked up, but I'm just like, it's all flooding back to me now. It was just an amazing moment in time. It's like, you know, when the earth stops, air stops moving. You know, like in all these movies where they do that big Hollywood thing. Like, you know, even in karate movies, you know, ghosts fighting in the sky. That kind of thing, moment it stopped in time. And it was just so special. There was like this magical bond. And then when we played, it was like times 10. It was like awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I known him for a million years. Oh, jokes aside, it was, yeah. And then when we rehearsed, it was all good. I think that was 2014, hey?
Yeah.
And
well, you're not originally from Canberra. Where are you from?
me, I'm from...
Apart from outer space, too.
Yes, New York City. A place called... I grew up in a town called Woodside, Queens.
Yeah.
And yeah, I lived there for like 36 years. And I was born in the Bronx. My dad's from the Bronx. My mother's like family from Manhattan. And then we grew up in Queens. And yeah, it's a cool fucking place. Cool town. Real, I like Irish, European, Catholic neighborhood, you know, like real tough. A lot of bars, you know, like every 2 blocks there's a fucking pub on the corner and a lot of, like, yeah, you whatever neighborhood you grow up, that's where you hang out and you roll, you know.
You're pretty loyal to your location.
Yeah, and like, yeah, and everybody is in their parts of the neighborhood. So if you want to go to another neighborhood and fuck around, yeah, you're gonna be fighting, you know.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
Real territorial. Like, it's funny. If I showed you how many blocks it was, it seems big as a kid, but it's not really. It's a little place. You know, the local school, the local public school, the Catholic school. Yeah. And those are all the dudes I went to school with. They were all in Catholic school, and my family went to public school. With other friends, but a lot of the dudes I grew up with, you know, went to Catholic school, you know, in that area. And so there was like tons of Irish bars, and it was just crazy. The neighborhood was awesome. You hung out in parks, you know, or a cemetery, or a fucking abandoned building, or wherever the fuck you wanted to go. Yeah, we eventually had like the sickest hangout. It was called The Hole. It was underneath this highway, and it was this giant steel door, right? Yeah. And it was a bottom of a highway going up, and it was like all bricked off. And the only way to get in is through this giant steel door. And one day my mates went in there with a torch and were like, check this out. It was like a club underneath the highway. So we fucking dragged carpets in there, couches in there, and the car batteries, and just had lights and just bombed the walls and would just have the sickest fucking drug fucking keg parties ever. Like, people would have nightmares in there, like tripping, or if they smoked a little dust, they would just be fucking nightmare, like thought they were in fucking just in hell. Yeah. Which we probably found entertaining, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, when we just be like, it's funny, man, the music, that's where the Witch Skull comes from. It's like, it was always thrash. It was always like Slayer, Venom, just like the craziest fucking heaviest shit out. Yeah. We were always listening to them, blasting that like nonstop, everybody. Because we used to hang, and when I hung out in this place, it was called The Hole, right? Yeah. Like, you know, your asshole hole. We called it The Hole. And sometimes, like, people would get sick, or somebody would just fucking do something stupid, and the cops would come and be like, you can't come in here. But we were like, fuck that. We had like this sick hangout in there. But these dudes, like, where we, when we recorded Coven's Will, we stayed in a place called Ridgewood, Queens. And that's like 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes by car from Woodside, right? That's where we stayed when we did Coven's Will. Yeah. And we would record in Greenpoint. And it's just crazy. So when we would have parties in the hall, there would be like a bunch of dudes from Ridgewood. It was like a mini metal fucking satanic meet. I think we even had a fucking dead goat in there. Somebody found like a whole skull. It was on the wall in there. We fucking nailed it to the wall. Yeah, like, dude, the cemetery by my, like, so when I used to go to school, right, I lived on, like, 60th Street, right? So I used to have to walk to Sunnyside. I lived in Woodside. Sunnyside was here. I used to meet up with all my mates, and we would walk to school. It was like 5 or 6 blocks, right, every morning when I went to, like, junior high school. The school thing's all fucked up here, like, you guys are like, I went to college, and I'm like, that ain't fucking what? Yeah, it's weird over here. I still don't understand it. I don't care.
You need an education to understand the education system.
Yeah, but we used to walk by the Calvary Cemetery. This is an old cemetery. It's where my family members are buried and everything. And when we would walk by, people would be like, don't go in there. There's this crazy dude called the Chicken Man, right? Running around in there, right? But when me and my friends would be walking to school, we'd always find chickens with their fucking heads cut off, right? Always, right? In the cemetery. Because we'd walk through the cemetery, right? Quick, jump up down the wall, and we would just go home. And then you'd find, sometimes, I remember finding, me and my friends were walking home one time, and it was like, there was this fucking big, like, rubbish bags, like fucking 100-gallon fucking, we're like, what the fuck is that? It was like a rock, and we were like, what the fuck is that? A body. And I think it was just like a deer carcass, just like all chopped up and quartered. But back to the dead chickens, where my junior high school was, junior high school 125 was in like a Hispanic neighborhood, and Santeria, you know, like those voodoo supermarkets you see in movies and magazines, you know what that is? Like they'll do the roosters for you. Yeah. So it wasn't a chicken man. It was actually fucking these Santeria dudes. They were probably killing goats and animals and doing sacrifices because that's part of their religion. Yeah. You know? And there was this place, and, you know, it's got that big, giant plastic Jesus in the window with all the saints and all the candles and shit. Yeah, yeah. Those are where people just go and get one of your hair or your beard, and you're fucked, you know? You'll be shitting tarantulas, you know? But that's it. Everyone's like, don't go in the cemetery because Chicken Man. Of course, what did me and my friends do? Go in there to find him, to beat him and rob him. And steal his chicken suit. Or if he had a chicken hat, one of my mates would have been wearing it. That's fucking hilarious. Dude, that's like when I was a teenager, like 13 or 14. And that's when I started fucking going to gigs, and it's like, yeah, it was crazy. But the dudes, the 3 dudes I fucking used to, it was Rob, right? Me and Rob used to go to, my mate Rob, we used to go and walk. But then sometimes as I got older, I walked with these like 3 Spanish dudes, you know? Yeah. One was like Mexican, one was Spanish, and then one was Puerto Rican. And it's like the 3 craziest dudes, hey?
Yeah, yeah.
They're full on. They were just like nuts. They grew up to be crazy. One was like a drug kingpin. One was like a career criminal. And one was like this mad drug dealer too. And he was like, his family got murdered like a block away from my house and shit. It was like nuts. I remember he fucked around. This kid I used to walk to school with and fucking punched the shit out of, and he was fucking... And we would just go, and we'd all walk home because we lived a block from each other. So we would just go, and everybody would walk the same way and down Queens Boulevard. And then the cemetery I'm talking about is called Calvary Cemetery. Yeah, yeah. Look it up. It's fucking sick. It's old. There's like dudes from the Civil War in there. It's like the Union members, and there's like these old, but there's a whole occult thing going on in there. People would be fucking around in there. In the big mausoleums. You know, in the, I'll tell you where it is. Yeah. In The Godfather, when their fucking old man dies, Brando dies, and the guy is going, and Pacino's why he's going, who's making the play, and they start kissing that other dude, and they're like, and he's thinking all these motherfuckers are going to whack them all for not thinking I'm going to be the son. They're in Calvary Cemetery, where I'm talking about, where all these dead chickens and all. We used to play football. There was like a potter's grave. There was like a whole giant bunch of cemeteries connected that the bus drivers called the Boneyard. That's the bus route you'd get, because it would go through all these cemeteries. So we'd hang out in
the bus used to go through the
bus
cemetery.
Used to, because there's like a highway over the cemetery. This is what I'm talking about in The Godfather. When they're burying Marlon Brando, you see a bridge behind them, and that's the Kosciuszko Bridge that's going into Greenpoint, fucking Brooklyn. Holy shit. Yeah, that's in that movie. And this is the cemetery. So me and my friends were like, fuck, let's go through the cemetery. And you just find weird shit like dead fucking roosters or chickens or, like a giant
goat.
bag of carcass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a fucking, goat, fucking deer, fucking head or some shit. And we think that was cool,
Yeah. That's like you're saying about finding random stuff in the street. Like, I remember hearing a story of when Bill Burr was living in New York.
Yeah, fucking mental.
And he was housemates with Bobby Kelly. And he said that Bobby Kelly he's another big comedian. He was saying that he's so much of a street kid. Although they had a studio apartment, if he walked past something that looked like he could sell it and make money, he'd bring it back to the apartment.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're living in this fucking studio apartment. And he walks in there and there's a fucking treadmill just crammed into the apartment. And he goes, what are you fucking doing with that, Bobby? We got like a lounge chair and a bathroom. And he's just like, fucking, it still works. It's good. It's worth money, And the funniest thing is Bill Burr said that he was in the bathroom getting ready, like shaving and stuff, to do his first ever appearance on Conan.
Who, Bill Burr's first appearance was on
Conan. And he was in that apartment with Bobby Kelly, and Bobby Kelly was on the treadmill with a racquetball just throwing it at the brick wall. And he said he's seen Bill in the bathroom getting ready. So he lined it up perfect with the corner of the room and pegged the racquetball as hard as he could at the fucking wall. And it bounced and he hit Bill in the face. And he's like coming out, going off at him full Bill Burr style, like, oh, you fucking asshole, I gotta go on fucking Conan now, got a fucking black eye, you fuck.
That's fucking hysterical. But that's how city life is. Dude, my family called me the garbage picker like up until last week. Like, that's because I was. Dude, the first amps I found in the train, and they worked, and I blew them up. Before an amp blows up, it has the best distortion, let me tell you. And you'd find tons of cool shit, you know what I'm saying? People just like don't know what shit, So I'm a garbage picker. My wife would say I'm a hoarder, but I'm not. It's like my shit's cool,
You like American pickers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, those guys are too. They're not like. Those guys, that's cool shit they're dealing with, but I don't really like those guys. They're like dicks. You know what I'm saying? They're like robbing old men. Like, they're making a lot of money off that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're a picker. You're a picker when you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? You go around and on television and you're lowballing people, old folk that are like about to die. You're a cunt,
Yeah, you're more of an American robber.
But I like this, American robbers.
According to Tony, it should be
and I'm
called
going to shake your hand, and you're going to go come again. See, the guys, it's just like...
Tony, you want to call it American cunts, dude.
Yes. Cunts fucking... the cunt robbers.
American cunts in a Ford Transit. That's what it's called. This is a short name.
Let's get rich off old cunts, it should be called.
Let's get rich from a Sprinter.
But they're just thinking, oh, this guy found it, so whatever I give him, But I'm just like, sometimes it doesn't seem right, the pricing to me. I don't care how much his overhead is and his fucking gay jeans.
Is that the new Levi's?
Like,
is that the new name for the Levi's?
He looks. They both look like dudes I would fucking be punching the shit out of when I was younger.
And then you turned
for going in my garbage.
They took your dead goat, dude.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Get out of my garbage, you fucking nerd." And punch the shit out of them.
Because it used to be pretty heavy on the fight, say, like, when you're talking about stories from, like, L'Amour's in Brooklyn and stuff like that.
No, but even in neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? People coming through and just fucking acting, and you'd be fucking at school. There was, that's everywhere. That's universal.
Yeah.
The whole fighting in school. I don't know if that's allowed anymore.
Yeah.
But, that was universal, man. But, even the clubs. But the L'Amour's in Brooklyn, that metal club I was telling you about, was it was run by the mob, you know what I'm saying, that ran that, and the dudes would fuck people up. Yeah. And dudes would go to security, you know what I'm saying? So say if you attacked one security guard, you're pissed and you're macho and on coke and you want to fucking throw your weight around, so you attack one and then there's 10 dudes on top of you. Axe handle. I've seen dudes in the middle of the street face split wide open, just
Yeah,
like,
wild.
and a giant snot. I remember this giant. It was like fucking huge, and it was like a blood snot. They would just shattered the dude's nose with an axe handle or their fist. But they were cool to me.
Yeah, but
know
you
what
just
I'm saying?
look at that, you're like, oh, you go to help someone, you see the snot, you're like, fucking gross, cunt. Get that fucking snot off your face.
And it would have been in the winter, right? And there would have been smoke coming off of them. And fucking,
Smoke
it was
coming.
crazy.
He copped a hiding so hard there was smoke coming off him.
No, when you sweat.
That's so wild, dude.
You know when you sweat at gigs and you go out in the winter, the
smoke,
sizzles off of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just great. It's a stupid move, you know, and this is the bartenders were real hot chicks dressed all mellowed out and going around and would come up to you and be like, hey, how many beers you want? Say it was 4 guys, and you just tip a $2 and they bring the beers to you so you don't got to move, you know what I'm saying? But they were hot, you know what I'm saying? And dudes would, you know, they'd be getting molested by fucking, you know, drunks and shit. And if you got really handsy, dude, you just see some dudes just fucking get punched right off his feet and dragged out and thrown out.
You always know someone cops are hiding when their shoes are still where they were standing.
Yeah.
Like, you ever just see, like, those videos of a dude on the ground, his shoes are still where he was, and he's snoring? It's so funny when someone gets knocked the fuck out so hard, they instantly start snoring, and they always cross their arms like a vampire. You know how vampires
The
sleep?
snoring's nuts, right?
Yeah. You're just like, wow, man, I wonder if he snores like that all the time, or if you've unlocked a special ability. You know what I mean?
I just think
like a Pokemon.
he looks so peaceful.
Yeah. Oh, he's sleeping.
He looks so beautiful and peaceful.
I heard another one.
But hold on, I'm cutting you off, big kid. The age to get in and drink was 21. I think I was 13 or 14, and Irene, my sister, was 15.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and it's like the Sopranos are there, collecting the money at the thing. Johnny Goom, all these big dudes.
Yeah.
And a dude like dealing. These are the guy on the Twisted Sister documentary that they talking about that they used to borrow money off of.
Yeah.
'Cause they were like a house band in Brooklyn,
Right.
Twisted Sister in their heyday, like when they were like absolutely assassins, you know?
Yeah.
And we walked in, and I was all worried. I'm like to my sister, dude, how the fuck am I going to get in? It's 21.
Yeah.
She's like, don't worry about it. Take your brother Andy's ID, which I think he was only fucking 17 or whatever. And I'm like, man, I was worried the whole time. And then I walked in, they were like, how's it going, big kid? And they just, because I was a filthy, long-haired, rocking dirtbag, you know what I'm saying? They were like, this guy belongs in here.
Yeah.
Now, if you walked in,
Yeah.
like, and you just came from a wedding and had a suit, and they didn't like how you looked, or just what you, first thing out of your mouth, they would go, get out of here, fuck off.
Yeah.
No, you're not coming in.
Yeah.
You're an asshole.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
They'll take your shoes off. Dude, you can't come in here with that. They didn't let, it was for like metal people. Rock and roll and metal people.
Like
long-haired freaks. And like, and that was the thing, man.
Yeah.
And if they were funny about that too. They were like
American pickers down the road.
some of my mates were just like,
with your fucking jeans. Fuck off, you American picker looking.
no, but some of my mates just dressed good. Hey, like say for work or whatever, you had to wear nice clothes.
Yeah.
And they just be like, nah. And I'd be like, oh, and I'm talking like, this is like 84, and it's like, that's when like Ride the Light, like the band, if you missed a gig, you went home sad, hey? Like if you didn't get in, if it was like you, and because of some shit like that, like, because we would sometimes take the train and you'd travel like 2 hours, and then going home, it would take like 4 hours to get home from Lemore's, man.
Yeah.
When we didn't have a car. Then Irene, my sister, got a car, and we would all just pile into that, you know? My sister drove. My sister Irene, who's 2 years older than me.
It's like Halloween parties, man. I listened to a podcast with Joey Diaz.
Yep.
And he's a Jersey kid, and he was saying that like one time he went out and he was dressed up, ready to go, but they got too fucked up on acid and never made it to the party.
Halloween parties on acid.
Yeah.
How, what, that doesn't fucking scream fun, man. Just add a pinata, shitloads of alcohol, weed, dude, like, you guys got so gypped over here, man, because you're a bunch of freaks, you know what I'm saying? And you call it fancy dress. But just imagine having full on. Dude, we used to do it every year. So we'd say at that year's Halloween party, you'd come up with, all right, next year, you got to be this. And you wouldn't tell anybody what you're doing. And everybody shows up, and some of your closest mates, you don't even know who the fuck they are. Dude, it's crazy. And everybody gets wasted, and you blast music. It's the fun. And then the best thing is, and especially if you're on acid, I'll really get out the piñata.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, with adults,
Just make sure you don't dress like a piñata.
Dude, people hit the floor. People get smashed in the head. Dude, it's fucking awesome. I'm telling you.
Some cunt's covered in snot.
Yeah, I think the youngsters are starting to, because they seen more Halloween on television than you guys.
Yeah.
I think it was the British going, no, those damn Irish and their Halloween, fuck them and their potatoes. We don't want them having fun. They're bad enough they drink all the alcohol in Australia, the Irish. They definitely ain't getting Halloween. And then everybody here goes, those fucking Yanks and their fucking lollies and their Halloweens, and it's 2,000 years old from Ireland. It's so funny. Those fucking Trump with his Halloween fucking cunt. And it's like, and it's fucking 2,000 years old. It was a druid thing to go around and give mushrooms to kids. Yeah, you guys got chipped. I'm gonna finish that.
We got
up.
fucked. Yeah,
you got fucked there, man. You know, so have a fucking to all the 6 people listening to this podcast, fucking live your life and have Halloween and take acid and have a fucking Halloween cake and love yourself. Yes.
Love yourself is just literally a fucking way of saying go fuck yourself.
No, I'm serious, but I'm serious. To all the 8 people listening.
There you go. For the 6 people listening right now, go take acid and fuck yourself.
Hey, Big J and Nick, but I'm fucking.
Holy fuck! I wish they were part of the 6, dude.
When I'm coming back,
huh,
on the show. For the Halloween episode.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make the deal here. Deal?
Yeah, it needs to be.
All right.
Fucking,
maybe we'll come with a little costume
hand. I
over
nearly
here.
just fucking lost my hand for a second.
Yeah,
dude.
fucking booze at the kebab shop. Sorry, not kebab. Kebab shop.
Yeah.
Jesus, fucking look at your hands.
Dude, I remember I went to the...
all the better the strangle you with now.
Yeah, well, it felt like I was like...
He got scared like that. He was like, holy shit, like I stole Frankenstein's hand. I want him in a card game.
No, you didn't steal them. They just used them to make him. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a mismatch of all the different things.
See, I can't get tattoos, right? I'd like to. And if I did, I would just have the Frankenstein stitches.
Yeah.
Right? Because they go with these hands, right? Like you have one up here, like it was sewed on there.
Yeah, you different angles. You got to have one on the wrist and one half up your forearm.
Yeah, but it's a real modern
Doesn't
thing.
line up. Dude, I remember the first time
No
I
tough
went...
stickers for Tony, by the way. Thank you.
Well, I remember talking to the kebab shop. I went into the kebab shop one day on a weekend. It's like
Capital Kebabs.
That's
in
it.
Fishwick.
Yeah. And it's
Also, a shout out. Yeah. Put a little garlic sauce on that.
So I go in there.
Make it nice.
Yes, that's what happens, right? So I go in there. It's like, must have just been just after the lunch rush or something, because I get in there. There's not as many people. There's a couple people waiting for this. Plus, it's on a weekend too. It's like a Saturday. I go in there, and I walk in, and just from in the shop, I start hearing, "Make it nice." And I walk in and you're just standing there at the counter and they're trying to put it to, you know how they put it together? And you're like, yeah, make it nice. Like, the old mate's trying to be all polite and shit. He's like, so we make them all the same. You're like, yeah, but make it nice. He's fucking still like,
we would joke, man, at the kebab shop.
It's a good shop, man.
Oh, they're really good. And he supports the Skull.
Yeah.
I support them.
They'll play in it sometimes in there, yeah.
That's a family place.
Yeah, they play it in the shop sometimes, he said.
Yeah.
Because
but I know him good, man.
Yeah.
He's a skater. He's an awesome fucking killer Australian skater that skateboards. Yeah,
Yeah, SK8.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
a lovely man, and his family, his dad is awesome, dude. Good friend.
Oh, yeah, okay, fuck, all right then. I suppose we're
right.
bought to you by
No,
Capital
I'm getting fucking hungry. I just smoked.
Yeah.
Get an Uber Eats or something. Nah, don't do that.
Nah, dude, so
Yeah, take a race.
actually talking about this... Talking about skating, man. Remember we were at the basement for the Angry Anderson gig at the same time as the skate gig out the back. How wild was that shit, man?
That was bad shit, right?
There's so many people
we're
there.
up there, watching Angry, get a little angry. I don't know if somebody was picking on him or something.
Dude, I did comedy there that week. There was still a pair of panties on the stage. I'm like, fucking hell, that would have been a net if they threw that over him, man. A little pair of panties here. Land on Angry, dude. He fucking always getting that shit. 70 years old, still getting panties thrown at him on stage.
To be truthful, the reason I was there was because of the groovy cat on slide guitar. Yeah, he plays slide guitar. He's a big
you
fella.
knew the guitarist. Yeah.
He's a lovely man.
As if Angry didn't already look short, you got a fucking 7-foot dude standing next to him.
Yeah. It's a bit of a circus kind of thing going there, but it's cool. But it's like they're a kick-ass band now, man.
Yeah.
Like they were like, it was like if you want to see an AC/DC style fucking kick-ass band, fuck. Mark Evans too. What a fucking cool dude, man. Me and Joel, that guy who plays the
Yeah,
things in the
he writes
band.
the China, I know.
My band member, yeah.
Yeah.
That guy I'm not supposed to talk about, but I was so fondly attracted to on the day we first rehearsed.
He's
We
still
were
latched onto
talking,
that.
yeah.
You can still see him with a
It's
bindle.
just the mist keeps welling up in my mustache. But we would had a chat with Mark Evans, the legend, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, what a fucking cool dude, hey? Yeah, it was a good gig, man. But that's close to. I think they'll do a better AC/DC thing than AC/DC actually does. Because what do they got? That fucking squawking cunt from Guns N' Roses on vocals. That's a horror fucking show. That's fucking horrible. And you're paying fucking $7,000 a ticket.
Yeah, true. All
Get
those,
your slash jeans and your fucking.
go get your American Picker fucking jeans.
Get your slash jeans for $17,000. Yeah, no thanks. But that was a good gig.
Yeah,
And
it
we
was
got
a
a bit
wild-
angry. That was crazy. I was actually with you there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was part of the act, man?
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I thought he was going to go, this song's go fight for the fucking whatever, and then it wasn't. He kept going. And I was like, oh, this is great.
this song's called "Fight for Your Right to Party."
Then all the people that got offended.
Forgets that he rips another band off.
But he was bitching about the fucking bands playing next door.
Yeah, true.
Which is fucking, he's right about that. But
yeah, you could kind of hear the bleed through the wall, eh?
but but then you just stop playing. What are you gonna do? It's too late when the bands are there. It's easy for me to say, but when the two bands have already started playing, what do you do? But
he
a bunch of people got offended and flounced out of there, man. I was like, oh, really? Fucking, what's that dude's name?
Yeah.
Angry, yeah. Figure it out.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
I tell you what was funny, man. The band's playing in the back, and it's just that's when he was just like, I got a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with these bands playing out the back? This is Angry's show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was like, no, but he goes, no, you know what? To be honest, he said, one band at a time. It's always been like that. Fair's fair. That's bullshit. And so to me, that ain't angry. If you're angry, it's because the truth hurts, and he's actually saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then the band just totally kicked ass.
Yeah,
They played all
you
this.
wouldn't have even known there was a band out the back when they were playing.
No, because they're shit hot. Mick, those guitar players and fucking Mark, they're fucking good, man.
They're tough motherfuckers too, man.
Yeah, they played. Yeah, fucking.
They don't need security, man. That band will fuck you up.
Dude, yeah, and they got a lot of the gigs and all the crowd that they rolled with, right? It was pretty crazy, full on. The people, yeah. I dig them, But that was crazy that night. And then it was like, he apologized. Somebody told me that he did a big apology on that thing. Which he shouldn't have. He just, you have an off night. He didn't mean it. I met him. He's the nicest fucking guy you ever met.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like it was some publicity to try and, like, a publicist would have suggested and wrote that apology, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or helped. Or
No, because the
whatever,
tour, because now somebody for having a bad night like that,
Yeah.
say if he was cranky, say you don't know what's happening in his personal life. And then,
The dude's 70-year-old. Like, he's fucking belting out a tune. Yeah, like...
he had a bad day, but people will just go to all the venues and try to cancel you. This whole bullshit, like, because he said something that offended, and those people oppose. It turns into a big shit show. So I thought the same thing too. When somebody said it, I wonder if legally they had to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Which
is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck. What? A rock band can't say what they want? Don't go to fucking rock shows.
Dude,
Stay away from rock show. Stay away from Witzko. Because they're actually like a sex rock show because they're so fucking beautiful. Joel paid me to say that, by the way.
Well, at least one of us is getting money out of this fucking
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
The
Witzko, good band, yeah?
Dude,
New record coming out.
Hold on, Tough Guy. Just fucking wait for this plug at the end of the show.
Take it easy, Taco Tits.
Actually, the Breathing Blue Light video clip is really, really good, man. Like, I'm going to put that up as like on the YouTube for people to get a reference because I really like the way that was shot.
That's the big hit. That's put that song over the top.
Yeah.
Like that clip is just beyond fucking sick, right?
Because you were saying there was like a
Richie Granger.
There was a story about where it was filmed as well, like, because it's got like the drone footage and all these like crazy angles and shit.
Yes, and it's a place called. It's really close by here, and I'm fucking. Man, it was in an old closed mine, yeah, and I fucking can't remember that little town. It's right outside the camera.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, let me Google. Captain's fucking
Flat?
Yeah, hey. Fucking, I was gonna say Captain's Bush. But it was in Captain's Flat. Hey, there's some funny shit that happened on that. Hey, we're like, I'm hanging out with Joel and he's like got this kit and he's like, we were like jamming, just fucking around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, is that fucking guy got a shotgun? This guy come up, hey, what you boys doing over there? And his wife was like, look at him, honey. Look at him. They're beautiful. And I was like, what you boys doing over there playing that goddamn rock and roll? No, he was just like, but he had a shotgun because he was looking after the property.
Yeah, so he came over and thought you were trespassing.
He was looking at Marky
shit.
like, I love me some man to play guitar.
I'm surprised I didn't
wouldn't have sex with a man, but that man I would.
I was surprised I didn't see photos of you in the Canberra notice board or some shit like that. You know, like fucking band Sasquatch fucking sighting at Captain's Flat.
Yes, yeah. That was probably the talk of the town. There was 3 Yowies there.
Tim the Yowie man out there taking photos of you playing.
Yeah, tracing us to making fucking plastic castings of thumb marks out there that were a rare species of Cambrian Yowie. Fucking, hey, there was a fucking another Yowie site. Where did he come from?
I'm doing a ghost tour. In a couple of weeks, and Tim the Yowie man is the guy that's hosting it. Yeah, for the National Film and Archive Centre.
Is he a Yowie? Is he really a Yowie?
Yeah, it was a Yowie man.
Breakfast?
I don't know, Yoweed.
I hope so.
I think he just smokes Yoweed.
That's a pretty fucking. He's bold, like calling yourself a Yowie. That's what.
Tim the Yowie man, dude.
Yeah. Imagine you met a bunch of Yowies in a pub, and they took offense to it because he really wasn't a Yowie, and
True.
they just fucked you up.
Yeah, like
They were just like, you offended my family.
they fight for their honour.
We come from the forest, and you live in an apartment.
Well, we used to have.
You're in a fence.
When I was a kid, we had these little chocolate fucking things called Yowie powers, dude.
Well,
They were called Yowie.
What?
No, they were kind of like a Kinder Surprise, but it was shaped like a Yowie.
Yeah. Was it like a little yowie dude? Was it chocolate or like
yeah, but it had a little thing, like a little capsule inside of it that had like a toy in it. No
Okay.
joke. It's hard for me to explain to someone that's never seen it before.
No, but it was like a Kinder Egg, but a yowie, and it had a toy inside.
Pretty much. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
I
go.
got half
You
a brain.
translated it for me
No,
to the Americans that they can't fucking they can't sell it in America because it's illegal to sell.
Why are you anti-Sasquatch? Big lot of fucking
I'm just
yowies
saying it's
flying
natural
around here.
fucking selection. Do you know why? Because if they sell
Do
that
you have a mirror? Fuck. Dude, take a look at yourself.
no, the
Yes.
it's illegal apparently in the States to sell non-food products wrapped in food products because too many people choke and die if they sold yowies or fucking
I bet you it
Kinder
was common
Surprise.
as a kid, like in the 60s and 70s, but then there was too many cases of kids choking.
choking on
Yeah,
shit
but
because they
that's-
just eat the whole fucking
No,
egg.
but what happens is, say you're an older kid and you eat it, and then you throw it on the floor, and your little brother comes up and fucking bang.
Dies, yeah.
Same thing with coins. Whenever
Back
you
to
have,
being an only child again.
man, when you have a fucking when a kid with babies and fuck, everything's got to go. You got to lock fucking everything because they're gonna come with the worst chemical or the sharpest blade or the worst thing for them. It's like they're magnets to it.
Yeah. They just
know?
find it. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and they open everything with their head for the first couple of years. That's something I noticed too. That's why I think I got such a large cranium and forehead. It was from opening things for like the average kid's 2 years.
Do you open
it was
the
for
bonnet?
6 years in my case.
You open the bonnet on your
My
car with
mother
you.
used to, I have flashbacks of my mother going, "Come here, you little caveman." And, you know, it's funny. All my brothers and sisters got haircuts. I didn't, and they all just got. And I got all of their clothes, man. Whenever I look at my class photos, right, it's like my sister's shirt from Christmas, like 3 years prior. It's like I'm like, holy fuck! My family win me in a card game? Like I was like, my mother would just fucking, I don't know, or at a fucking bingo night, they just hear we're gonna give away a little freak. Does anybody want him? My mother would have went, I'll take him. You know, but yeah, it's crazy.
You were the you were the little fucking compilation prize. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was just nuts, man.
That's wild. Though.
Life's crazy.
What, you're just wearing all big stuff and probably
No,
like
just like I remember. Listen, I got to tell you about the coolest school photo ever.
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's actually of me.
Yeah.
Right. I might even show it to you one day for a small fee. But my brother, I think my sister might have went, and a bunch of all the older dudes in my neighborhood. I remember sitting on the stoop of my house,
Yeah.
which is the steps
Yeah.
stoop. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got that.
yeah.
And all these dudes come out of
I'll
this
write that
pub.
down. Yeah.
Write that down and
Yeah.
put it in your show, all right? You owe me a beer. And there was a pub that was like 2 blocks to the left of my house and 2 blocks to the right. All these dudes come out of this place, right? And they were all screaming, the ooh. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they were like, the ooh. They were wasted, fucking hammered, these dudes. Pockets full of beers. They were all going to go see the Who at Shea Stadium, right? And I think they played with the Clash and the Ramones, yeah? And a lot of the dudes in Woodside would go to see the Jets there
Yeah.
and the Mets, the New York Mets. This is where the U.S. Open is, right over that area.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a 10-minute train ride from my house. So all the neighborhoods just filled up, all the crazy white dudes got on the trains and went there wasted. They would climb the walls. They would go into the... I think they leveled that place. I think they took down the fucking end zones. I know guys with photos taking down the end zone pillars, man. So back to the picture story. The shirt was one of my prized possessions. It was my older brother Bobby's. It was the Keith Moon Bullseye. And I begged my mother, this is the 70s, so I had to go to school photos. Listen, I still look like a little chick, right? But I begged my mother, man, can I wear this? She's like, no. You know, my mother, everybody, you know, when you think of your school photos, it's a collared shirt. You got to look like a little homo. That's it. You got to comb your hair. You got to brush your tooth. And then, and just wash your hands, you know, because I'm like a filthy street fucking rat, right? And And my mom was like, no. And then I was like, Mom, can't I? And I think I started getting nervous, and she goes, Tony, are you serious? Do you really want to wear that shirt? Then wear it. And I was like, really? And I walked in there like I was the fucking Terminator, man. Yeah, look at me. You show me anybody in any band, anytime, any year, in a rock t-shirt in a school, in their grade school. So that would have been it's probably the 5th grade, man.
Yeah, okay.
You show me. I want to see everybody that we play with, any fucking heavy band. I want to see the year 5 school photo.
Well, it doesn't.
And who outcools me?
Yeah, well, we can't in Australia. We got to wear uniforms.
I'm surprised you weren't wearing dresses.
Yeah.
A smock with a beret, you guys.
Yeah, we used to wear smocks. So like our dad's shirt, we used to paint
with that
stuff
royal
with them.
influence.
Yeah, the fucking primary schools here in Australia, dude, they're so cheap. They're like, oh, we need to paint the gym. So everyone bring in your dad's shirt and wear it. And it's a school project where we're going to paint the fucking gymnasium. So everyone would be there with a roller. And they'd be getting up us because they're like, this is a fucking shit job. Like, yeah, you got a bunch of fucking 12-year-olds to do it. What did you expect?
Fuck.
We did constructions in year 12, right? They're like, oh, for year 12, like your final year of
You're
school
supposed to paint on the outside of the school walls.
Yeah,
anyway,
we
you
spent most of
asshole.
the-
It's called graffiti.
We spent most of the time drawing dicks on each other with a fucking paintbrush. But anyway. For construction in year 12, they're like, oh, here's our major project. We're going to build a set of stairs for the school. So that's what we did. We got out the concrete.
What fucking school did you go in?
South Coast. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was like 8 people in your town?
Yeah, I can't say it, dude. They're the fucking
and
8
one of
people
them
that
was a
still
goat?
listen to this shit. Yeah, one of them was a dead goat
And
from
2
New
of them
York.
were kangaroos?
Yeah, one was a dead goat that we found under a bridge in New
No,
York.
you had to build your own school. Are you Amish? What the fuck? Did you milk the bees before you went to school?
Fuck. Oh, better than your fucking Catholic school where we just milk the
Listen,
teachers.
no. I was definitely too satanic to go to no fucking Catholic school. Fuck. You know? No, you know what you want to hear the story why I didn't go to Catholic school? Would you like to hear that one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so the local church was in my neighborhood was called St. Sebastian's, right? Where your local churchies and Catholic school kids and everybody would go, right, on Sunday. When you go on Sunday, back in the 60s and 70s, I was born in 69, you donate, you have to give money to the church. They hand around the baskets, right? And when you give it, money to the church, reason my mother did what she did was they would keep a list on the wall in the church who gave the most money and who gave the least. My mother went, they're not getting a fucking cent. So for years, my mom was getting the money to give to the church and wouldn't. We'd go to church and she would take the money and we'd go out to Woolworths. Woolworths, is not like a supermarket. It was like an everything convenience store. It was like the Woolworths that was like by my house was like toys. You could go up to a counter and have a sandwich and like a vanilla shake or whatever, and it had like everything. And it was
I
like
spoke to Doug Stanhope
big
about
toy
this. He was saying
stores.
that Woolworths is a different thing in the States.
Yeah,
and it's old. It's not a thing anymore, apparently.
yeah, and you'd have like a Slash hardware toy store, and there was sick toy stores all over. My mother goes, I spent all the money on you. And then when it came time to go enroll in Catholic school, they were like, and my father was furious, and my mother was like, fuck you, too late, haha, the kids ain't going to fucking Catholic school. That's the reason why I didn't go, because she was like, no, my kids. It was probably because of radical nature. Mine, definitely. It would have been satanic as a kid. I was a weird, like, the kid in the Omen, quiet. I would just sit there and draw, right, all my dreams and just be like, and then people would come in the room and get spooked, and they still do. When I sit there and read, they're like, you're so fucking quiet. And it's funny, and my mother would go, Tony, what are you doing in here? Everybody's outside playing the star, and I'd just be sitting there drawing in another fucking world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she would have been like, no, I'm not going to let the Jesus sisters and the angry priests corrupt my Tony. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm in Witchco.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful
You'd be just
thing.
drawing pictures of fucking children of the corn and
I would
shit.
be drawing a picture, if I went to Catholic school, a picture of my broken anus. because I was like I wasn't an orphan, but I was poor, so they would have preyed upon my rectal vicinity. No, they wouldn't have, because actually my brothers and my uncles would have just murdered the fuck. You know what I'm saying? They would have just thrown him off a building or something. I think my Uncle Robert, to be honest, God bless him, he punched out a fucking priest, like and he got kicked out of this school I'm talking about. The guy, because they were allowed to beat you, hey? And my Uncle Robert, he like took judo as a kid, and he was really into sports and hung out with these dudes and played basketball. It's like he was a sick basketball player. And this dude must have went to go, and I think he just fucking decked him off of his feet, you know? And just got kicked out of the school.
Yeah.
And he's one of my most of my uncles were police officers and detectives, and he was one. He went in, he became a mechanic. His father, his father, my grandfather, Anthony Soroka, who I'm named after, told him, "No, don't, man. You don't want to do this world." Because, man, remember what the police departments were like in the 60s and 70s. And even if you were like not Irish, hey. Like my mother's side is Eastern European. He got the whole WOG treatment, like you're a piece of shit. Meanwhile, he's saving lives and fucking saving people, and you're a cop, and your life was on the line. And 67 was radical, man. 70s he was even crazier. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, it's like if you like, it was a lot of Irish cops, you know. But my uncle, he didn't get into it. He was the most insane car mechanic. That's where I would have seen you guys really into cars. Yeah. That's where I saw all the sickest fucking hot rods are from my Uncle Robert.
Yeah. And
like in the garage at my house, the two cars, I think we used to play in a 55 Chevy, like a dark fucking blue one, and there was another car, and there was like two of the sickest fucking hot rods, and we would just fucking go and sneak into the garage. There was like a broken panel, and go on and just hang out, and it was like you were back in the fucking 40s or 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
They were mental, these old cars, but he ran like a trucking company. He was like a big truck engine mechanic, but he was sick. Like, you could break down on the side of the road and he could find shit on the side of the road. He actually did it with us. We broke down in the Bronx on one of the freeways. He come up and he was like, fuck, and he was just like, found a piece of tire on the road, got it, and got us home. Taste the oil type guy. This is fucked. One of them. Hey, you ever seen that?
Yeah, I feel like most of them.
Nah, she's fucked. I'm like, you're kidding me. Man, I learned how to drive here. How crazy is that? Man, the train was like a couple blocks from my house. And when I lived in another place called Maspeth, Queens, like when I grew up a little bit and started dating somebody of the opposite sex, there's a bus in your neighborhood. Trains are not in the nicer neighborhoods. They're like, they run right through the crazy parts of town, you know? Yeah, fuck, man.
You're saying before we got into it that you were nearly looking at being a cop. Is that right?
No. I was joking about that.
Good.
My wife always says, Tony, she'll put on the show, and I'll be watching it for 5 minutes, and I'll go, this dude, even if it's a cop show, I'll be like, this guy did this dude did this is how he got in, and she's like, how the fuck did you know that? You know? And I'm like, it's easy. Look, there's tracks by the house. The guy would come in on the tracks, went into the neighborhood, killed him, and went fuck that. And she's like, and I'm like, and she's like, man, I definitely could have got it because I know shit. You know what? You got to know people.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of police officers. Some of my best mates are narcotics and marshals and all the dudes. The neighborhood when I was talking about Woodside, all the dudes I grew up with, all basically went into blue collar jobs, unions. Like all my family went to work for the city, fire department, the MTA, the Transit Authority. Fire department, my sisters are not, like, they all work, they're like workers like that, and all the other dudes I did all went to the military, and then when they did their stints in the military and they got out, most of them become either firemen or a police officer, so they just go. And Woodside, Queens is actually known for that. They're like, the people in that town are known, and they run a lot of the buildings and unions and work in all the buildings in Manhattan, a lot of them, man.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are like, my friends are marshals. Like my mate Huey's a fucking narcotics detective, and fucking There's guys that were just in the Navy, and I know guys that flew in fucking Black Hawks and fucking dudes I grew up with, crazy, all of them. I was like that one. Well, no, I'm not. I'm just getting a job. I ain't no one gonna tell me what. Well, after I was like 13 and 14, I was like, I ain't listening to fucking nobody.
Yeah, because
no more.
You worked into.
Not that I did when I was younger, but like I had to go to school, and you gotta.
You gotta pull the line a little bit.
Yeah, tie wearing bitches can suck my dick. The Ghetto Boys one there for you, all right?
The job you went into was alchemist work, right? For like precious metals. You've mentioned this.
Yeah. So before I left, right? I left in 2005. Man, I worked at a thing called a micro foundry, right? Now, a foundry is where a steel foundry or iron one is where they make the big iron fucking beams and everything. That's a foundry where I think even concrete where they're you're pouring things into molds and stuff like that. That's a foundry.
Like Detroit would have a lot of that shit.
And Brooklyn, like Greenpoint, Brooklyn was known. Those were all docks. That was all working
industrial tall shit.
Holy shit. That's now built up and hipper than Manhattan, Brooklyn. That was all an industrial area. When I was in a union for 10 years, and I worked next door to a steel place, and you've never seen forklifts that fucking big. When they get the train cars. Well, I worked in a union, and train cars would come in there, and the steel places and all that, right? But back to the foundry. I worked in a micro foundry, which is precious metals.
Yeah.
I was taught how to cast jewelry. My specialty was melting platinum, but I did gold, and I dealt with the craziest fucking people.
You would,
and
man.
it was in the craziest part of town. It was like on the Bowery. It's a famous place known for its poor, right?
Yeah.
Through the history, right? CBGB's was on the Bowery, right?
Yeah.
This is down like maybe 4 or 5 streets, but it was in Chinatown and Little Italy, and it was like this fucking homeless area, and it was just fucking mental. It was all movie stars, like a place where David Bowie. I could show you where all these people lived, like all the most famous rock stars and fucking models and actors and everything. I would see them all the time in this neighborhood where I was, and I would hang out there at a bakery called Parisi's on March Street, an Italian place, a sandwich shop, best in the fucking world, man.
Make it good.
Oh, the best. Make it not like the family, really cool. I used to hang out there and eat there, but you would just see fucking famous people fucking everywhere over there. And that was it. So it was in 88 Bowery. It was like downtown, and it was in the basement of an Asian jewelry shop. So the whole top, it was like I was in fucking Asia somewhere, and it was just like Japanese, Chinese, Korean, this, and it was all Asians. Maybe one old Jewish guy in the middle selling pearls or something. And I worked in the basement, right? So Artistic Platinum, the place that I cast the jewelry for.
Yeah.
So my job was to make the gold, melt all the metals, and cast all the fucking rings and crosses and everything.
Yeah.
Weigh them up and deliver them and get the next night's work and get the molds and from all the jewelry shops. So there's 2 diamond districts in New York City. There's one where I work down on the Bowery and Canal Street.
Yeah.
That's a huge diamond district. That was actually the first diamond district in New York City. And then all the sons of the people that made the money there went to Rockefeller Center, to the diamond district that's known by the entire world. That's where the world shops for its shit, on 48th Street and Rockefeller Center. That's
Uncut
like,
Gems is the one that...
No, it's building after building.
Oh, the Sandler movie,
But it's called the Diamond District. It's
Yeah.
actually 3 streets. And it's full of buildings and shops, and you could buy from raw to the most expensive things, and the whole world shops there.
There's people that pan
and their
the
money was
streets
traded
there,
in the
man.
trade center. Like that was that whole crazy thing. Yeah, but the commodities there. I used to go to this place called Johnson and Matthey, and like one door buzzer. I got to get buzzed through. Who are you, Tony? Artistic Platinum. Go through another door buzzer. Then a chick would come and get you and sit down. You'd sit down at the table like this, and there's a camera right on you. All right, what do you want? Hey, I want 20 ounces of platinum. I need this much gold, and I want this. And they would just come, scale, put it out, sign this. You got 30 days to pay. So I would get all the metal, go make the gold, sell the gold, get the money, pay the bill. So I was like doing everything.
Yeah.
And there was came a point where my boss Charlie was like, Tony, you could, yeah. I said, you don't even need to come in, dude. I'll go see the customers. But when I got back I would make the jewelry, price it out, call up England for the price fixes of the jewelry every day, price my jewelry out, go deliver it, come back. I'd get out of the subway 20 blocks from my job. I wouldn't take the train right to my street where I worked. I'd get out in Greenwich Village, man, and go to all the
where the Pope is.
Yeah, all the coolest record shops, book shops.
Yeah,
every fucking cool shop in the world was in Greenwich Village. Then I would walk down and through this old neighborhood down into Little Italy and all those places.
Yeah,
best food in the world is down there. Best fucking everything, and it's crazy. It's all ancient with their bootleg factories. Like you'd see like a roller door pop up, and there's like a dude with like fucking 80 tanks full of prawns in a fucking private factory, like not regulated. Dudes with like knockoff dresses, like they just whatever's the latest fashion. There's someone downtown in a factory with 50 people making those dresses to sell them to make money. Every new fashion thing. Yeah, it's just knocked off, and people make shitloads of money off of it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're saying your boss is a fucking hard ass, man? Like
no, that was a guy I worked with.
Okay.
So I worked with two gentlemen, right? One was named Charlie, and one was named Paulie. Paulie was like the hardest motherfucker you ever met. Like he was a Marine. He was the just toughest motherfucker. And when he come back, he was like a police officer. But he grew up with all the fucking mobsters. The big mobsters in his neighborhood, in the neighborhood I'm telling you about. Yeah. So when people would be stealing, these young mob guys on his beat, he would fucking beat the piss out of them, and they'd be like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And he goes, yeah, good. Tell your father it was me. And they would go, I'm going to fuck you. You did. He went to school with all the fathers of the gangsters, so he knew them. They grew up with them since little boys, so he didn't give a fuck. He's like,
he knew them, yeah.
Yeah, he knew their fathers.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was no fear of him getting beat. So if he caught you, he'd belt the fucking shit out of you, and didn't care if you were in the mob or not. Dude, I was on the train station with him one time, right? And this huge dude bumped him. He just turned around and fucking blasted him right on the chin. Dude, he was 82. I was like, fucking dude. What? And he was like, the guy was just shocked, you know? But he'd be like, do it right here, 100 push-ups.
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't curse in front of a woman. You know real Italian dudes don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
Yeah.
When they're not there, your sister's cunt. That beats you guys, hey? Man, you guys actually have, like, nice terms for cunt and bad ones, but there's no your sister's cunt. That's like a known one, hey man?
Yeah.
And it's funny, I know a bunch of guys that actually use cunt more than you guys. From New York. That's wild. Yeah. Dude. My mate Joe Parisi. Yeah. No, but it was always be your sister's cunt. And this guy Paulie he was the best, man. Like he showed me the ropes. He was the jewelry caster. He was the guy melting the metals, right? Yeah. When I came there. And when I first came there, my boss goes, hey, good, I'm just about to do this. The first day, how I got the job, a kid I used to jam with, Nick, his mom was married to the guy who owned the shop. And he goes, Tony, I was out of work. I was in a union for 10 years. The company moved. And he goes, what are you doing? And I go, nothing. He goes, you want to try this? I go, set up an interview. All I could do is go meet them, and if it's cool, it'll work out. If it's not, it won't. I went down. He goes, oh, fucking I'm glad you're here, Tony. This guy, Charlie, he was like the nutty professor and Santa in one dude.
Yeah.
Real fucking smart. Like,
yeah.
And he, like, the alchemy and the chemicals and the mixing. That's what I really love. I didn't like the money thing. Yeah. I don't like gold and platinum and diamonds. Half the world don't eat, and half the cunts got piles of diamonds. It's shit to me. Yeah. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I came in there, and he was like just about to cast it. And it was funny because he goes, put this mask on, you know, like a welding mask.
Yeah.
And he does it, and he's like, I'm like, fucking, I'm going to die here. Like, he's like, he puts on a gas settling torch, and it's like fucking 3,000 degrees to melt platinum into liquid, like the Terminator. You know, the liquid Terminator? Yeah. So you have to do that, right? And not get hypnotized by the light, yeah? So you got to get it where it's flowing, and then you got to shoot it into the mold. So he does it, and he's like, here, your turn. I go, are you fucking crazy? I go, dude, no way. I go, man, I'm going to watch you for a week Yeah, every day when you cast, and then I'm going to give it a go. And I did. And, and that's how I learned. But Paulie, the guy, the hard guy, I told you, he was the best. He was like cool. He was like, Anthony, you tell that motherfucker if he doesn't pay, I'm going to come to the shop and get it. And I go, I will. And then it's like, see, because when you buy jewelry, right, you got a 30-day paying grace period.
Yeah.
So you can make money, right? If you sell that rings, if you clean them up and you sell them, and you can make money and then pay your fee back. And some dudes would just like, and it would be like you go collect and they'd be acting like assholes,
Yeah.
And what you do goes, hey, come here, man. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Tony. Yeah. Meanwhile, he's got a bowl of diamonds. He's selling Rolexes. Sorry, I ain't got no money. Hey, how's it going? Listen, if you don't pay, I'm going to come back when your customers are here and ask for money when you're trying to sell something. Because that's like, how do you look as a businessman?
Disrespect,
if I'm going, what? Yeah, you just go, you're disrespectful. And they would go, no. Most dudes would just go, Tony, come here. I said, I don't want to hear your bullshit story. I don't want to hear you fucking broke. I don't want to hear none of your bullshit.
Yeah.
Just when it's there. And I'm not a standover guy or nothing. I just don't want to hear none of your bullshit. 30 days, just pay it. For most dudes would fucking just pay it like no problem. Yeah. They loved me because they were like, wow, you're not like a predator trying to make money here. Everybody's like having heart attacks at 40, trying to make a living, paying off a mortgage by selling jewelry and taking advantage of people, making money off it. And they go, these Russian dudes used to go, Tony, man, we fucking like you, man. They'd be like, you got the street about you. Because it's this. You see my eyes, man?
Yeah.
If you're up to something suspect, you ain't going to be looking at me. It's all about that. And so it was like, I wasn't man, I was who I was. I wasn't a punk. I wasn't and they would give me like a fucking $100,000 ring to take with me.
Yeah.
Like on a handshake, just Tony, hey, could you make me this?
Yeah.
Like no problem. $80,000 diamond all on. And I once went to a 60th and I had like $40,000 worth of jewelry on, hey? I just went to my customers, hey, could I borrow? I had this gold chain that was like the fucking solid like this, and I rented the ugliest Jesus head that you could ever find. He had brown diamonds in the beard. It was the ugliest fucking thing I ever saw. And the watch and everything else was like 30, 40 grand. I had them all on just like, so if I was a crim, so they know you're dealing with people's families,
Yeah.
A lot of Asians, but it's all different. Everybody thinks jewelry business and actually thinks the Jews, which it's not.
Yeah.
It's like every race is in there trying. South Africans are selling, If like Russia released their platinum, I heard, it would fuck them up. They would just destroy it, hey? Like diamonds, if they weren't controlled, they'd be worthless, To me, which is a cooler thing is a circle ring, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a circle of life, more than a cross. Like people are all with the whole Jesus thing. Man, he wasn't about being on a piece of fucking gold with diamond eyeballs. Like that's such a insult to the dude who he was, man.
Yeah.
Putting him on a decadent piece of jewelry this fucking big, It's just
true.
like. That's why I put it on, because it was so fucking retarded, But it was a crazy world, hey, man. There was like murders, like I went home, the street where I delivered one time, I come home and I'm like, man, holy fuck, there was a murder on 48th Street, and then there was one in Queens. And what it was these two dudes with doing dirty work for the cartels. They were taking gold, and they were making plumbing wrenches, belt buckles, spurs, like any metal thing, tools, and they were making in gold and painting them because the rats were eating the cash in the jungles, so they were sending gold from here to there, and then melt it down, and then you got your gold balls, and then you got the rats can't eat it, and you got your gold balls. These dudes must have been skimming. How you skimming jewelry is, you say you got a bunch of gold here, and I take a handful of pennies. You know how much I'm going to make off the handful of pennies? As much as they weigh, hey? Because then it just blends in and you don't know. So they could have been, the cartel could have maybe got the gold fucking inspected, or they would just take in too much. They got greedy. Broad fucking daylight, hey? I went to this place, got all the shit. Do you see my customers jump back in the subway? And like an hour later, in broad daylight, and the same thing in Queens, the guy was just murdered right in the middle of the street.
Oh shit!
That's what happens when you deal with a cartel.
They don't fuck around with niceties.
No. Or they could have been like somebody got busted, but it was like they were skimming. And the Russians would come to your shop, and my boss would tell them, "Fuck off! This is Charlie, 80 years old. No, sorry, we ain't fucking. No, don't ask me." They'd want you to make them gold rings that were 10 carat and be stamped 14. That's the most illegal thing you could do in the jewelry business. Yeah. It's like 7, 8 years in jail and like $1 million fine. And they would just look for dodgy dudes to do that.
And just try and find something.
And then they would sell it over. Who's going to know if you took those rings back to Russia or the Ukraine? Or nobody would.
Probably sell it back to fucking tourists and shit like that.
Yeah, have a little shit shop and people thinking, have it at a bit of a discount. People think they're getting it, for sale or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was all this. That's what I didn't like about the business is how dirty jewelry and money is.
Yeah.
It's the root of all evil, man.
Dude, speaking of the fucking root of all evil, I'm gonna wrap on this. We need to show the viewers. You didn't come over empty-handed.
Hey,
man.
what is that? Is that a record?
And for those of you that know what records are, Tony didn't come over empty-handed. He said, "You're a comedian. You might appreciate this." So he's brought over Bill Cosby's final album.
Fine. Long-playing LP called Bill Cosby.
It's true. It's true.
I'm a rapist. Oh, sorry. I thought it said that in the fine print.
No, but one thing that isn't in fine print is track number 1. It's the woman's fault.
Jeez Louise.
This came out in... Let's see if I can get a time on this.
2019.
That's when the real album came out.
It came out when the Black Album came out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Tony. I'm going to add that to my collection right next to all my Witch Skull vinyls.
When you're feeling a little bit
I might
rapey,
leave a break between it and the Witch Skull vinyls. I need a little buffer.
Definitely put it there. And listen, if you're ever feeling a little bit rapey or roofy-ish, just give her a spin. It gets you right in the mood. It's the creepiest fucking thing. This guy Mark, I know, he played me a bit of it. Jeez.
Yeah,
it's
the
horrible.
fucking face that he's pulling on the front of that. But yeah,
it's
just bringing it over.
Yeah, cheers. Man, I thought you'd appreciate that because it's very funny.
Now I'm gonna
and you're funny.
I'm gonna wrap it with that, but before the podcast finishes, just at the very end of this, I'm gonna play a bunch of samples that I've shown Tony before this. There's a regular guest on the Doug Stanhope podcast, Margot Wallenberg, who's got the best Tom Waits voice, but she's a chick. So she
without a penis, yeah.
Yeah, she passed away earlier this year, and today would have been on the day of recording this, actually would have been her 84th birthday. So
happy birthday.
Yeah, we're going to play her out with that, with some samples that I put together. So this has been episode 88. Check out Witch Skull, and thanks for listening.
See you, everybody.
Cheers.
Don't buy me a drink. Just name names.
Yeah, right. Big Tony. You'll get fucking thrown out of
a strip club with your floppy disk.
All day.
Make people feel shame for shit all day.
Don't blow
Turn
it.
it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. We're here
Keep it simple. Count your money.
that they're not proud of.
Just give me $10.
All right.
For the record, Margot is an actual woman. She's not transgendered. She just has the most fantastic radio voice of a fucking man.
That's a I have a pollet plantation in my throat, which allows me to sound like this.
Can you get that? Can you get that as an elective surgery?
Well, I've electively surgeried to have it removed once, but
Well, put it in me. I want that
there you
voice.
go. Isn't it great?
It is. It's
And
fantastic.
They said you're going to have to do it again. I said, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. I am what I am, No, I had.
A polyp population, a party on your vagina,
actually,
your uterus,
I had
a cock.
many. What's a woman to do?
You're just a dumb girl.
I'm just a dumb broad, honey. And besides
It was
that,
the best of times.
there's
It was
dicks
the worst
and there's
of times.
cocks. And cocks are far better than dicks.
So my first idea, give a wink so nobody
a
knows.
little slide of the eye. Don't you wish you could defrag your brain? No, I just, I was hanging out and I had a lover of mine who was dealing and I was just a dumb broad. I had no clue. Dude, like intelligent man, but boy, they're a motherfucker to live with. But I learned a lot from them, you know? Life is beautiful.
Life is. Sex gets ugly after a while.
I've never noticed that.
You were always faced the other way.
Well,
with a muzzle.
if wishes,
Don't talk
if wishes
dirty to
were
me.
horses, then beggars would ride, darling. If wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. Shakespeare. That's Shakespeare to you guys who speak English.
Throw a motherfucker at the end of that.
I was just trying to read my fucking book.
I'm just a dumb girl.
I'm just a dumb broad, man.
That
You're
erotica
so
is.
full of beans. I remember my Uncle Harold. I go, Uncle Harold, they, and Uncle Harold will say, who are they? And I go, I don't know. So Uncle Harold will say, well, then don't worry about it. And he'd say, do you want to be a doorknob? No, Uncle Harold. I don't want to be a doorknob. You want to be a vegetable? No, Uncle Harold, I don't want to be a vegetable. Then live your life. It was great advice from Uncle Harold.
How did he die?
He died at 89 or something.
Gunfight?
No, I think he was shot by his girlfriend's. No. And I used to run around with the Purdue Angels.
That's a motorcycle gang. Mm-hmm. What is the Purdue Angels compared to the Hells Angels?
Well, they were the same, but San Bernardino, the Hells Angels, but they were really just a bunch of guys that worked at.
That was the chapter, Purdue, San Bernardino. They call it Purdue.
Yeah, I guess that's what we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they were mostly just factory workers and ex-military, and they were a bunch of really nice guys. You know, one thing when I was in a motorcycle accident with my first love, Dexter Shields was his name, April 11th, 1957. And I was in college. I got out of high school early because they didn't want to see me hanging around. And we were following somebody home, and the guy signaled for a left, and Dexter went to pass him on the right, and the guy swung. He had the lights on going for a left, but then he swung in front of us.
From the second lane over?
And the last thing Dexter said to me was, let go. And that's when you wrote a pinion pad, and there wasn't a bar on the back.
What's a pinion pad?
A pinion pad. Like a
buddy
Kotex
pegs.
pad.
Buddy pegs?
Just the back seat.
It's like a black Kotex pad kind of deal. You know, I mean, much larger than that.
There you go. Now I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I
Put it in terms of feminine products, and then I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Like picture a black feminine pad, but without a backrest.
Okay,
There
yeah.
you go.
Boy, the days of feminine pads with backrests.
God.
Remember those? Comfort.
So anyhow, I flew off, and I ended up rolling underneath the front and back wheels of the car, and got up and went back there, and he was lying there, not looking too good.
Dexter was.
Dexter was not looking too good. And I yelled at him, "Are you okay?" And he looked up and he saw me there, and he smiled, and he flipped his head over, and then all this blood came spurting out of his ear. And they could hear me a couple blocks down the street.
How old were you at that time?
I was 17 on April the 11th, and I would have turned 18 on April 22nd on Earth Day.
Wow.
And it really helped me form my ideas about the concept of the hereafter and all that kind of jazz. And Dexter had a 3-year-old son that his wife had left him with. And I remember the little boy, he used to like to brush my hair, you know. And he'd say, Margot, where's Daddy? Is he sleeping with you? Oh my God. And I told him, no, he's just sleeping outside, and he was keeping an eye on both of us. What the hell do you tell a kid, you know?
Sorry for my quick absence there. Don't use the red wastebasket in the main house bathroom.
Don't.
I just did a Nico.
Oh, are you
Why didn't you use it? Why didn't you use the toilet? The other end was on the toilet.
Yes.
I guess I didn't have to tell you that, but
Yeah, having a white porcelain god.
oh, yeah. I'm not a puker, but this weekend evidently mounted up on me, on us both.
I think the weekend mounted you.
I just remembered we're not supposed to use that toilet. It's still leaking.
You did a push me, pull me.
Yeah, push me, pull you. I learned that from Joey Diaz, who's a friend of ours. He's a comedian. When I first met him, he was hosting a show in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, I had the push me, pull you flu this weekend. You know the kind where you don't know which end to aim at the toilet.
Oh God, that's funny.
Oh God.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad you came back just in time because we were just chit-chatting, nothing really heavy. So
Sounded like a good time to come in with a vomit story.
2 sentences away from crying.
I'm crying, but that's kind of reflex action.
Is that staunchy stinky?
I hit the mouthwash before I came back. Don't worry.
I have just enjoyed my life. I have lived my life. And I never existed my life. I lived my life. It's so precious that you need to live your life. Don't exist. You know? Don't be a fucking blunt.
Uncle Harold.
Uncle Harold.